will never set foot in the United States again. This trip to the White House was the most humiliating meeting of my political career. As the Prime Minister of Japan, I traveled to the United States with full sincerity to meet with our ally, only to be met with a series of disrespectful and dismissive treatment. Upon my arrival at the White House, they did not even prepare an official welcome ceremony. I was made to enter discreetly through a side entrance, as if we were nothing more than insignificant visitors. What infuriated me even more was that Trump openly joked about the Pearl Harbor attack right in front of me, showing complete disregard for how embarrassed I would be. During the subsequent talks, Trump firmly demanded that we must cooperate with the United States in its military operations against Iran. He even used Japan's crude oil supply as leverage to coerce Japan into getting involved in an irrelevant war. In this so-called ally meeting, I saw no negotiation or respect whatsoever, only one-sided humiliation and demands. I will never set foot in the United States again.
All right, so that wasn't real. I just seen in the bottom of the, not the comments, because I was looking the comments.
Political career.
It says right here, AI generated. So it wasn't real, but the event, which I should have queued up. Matter of fact, let me see if the brother put it in there. He put the actual event. And that's something crazy to be said, showing how demonic Babylon the Great is. Matter of fact, it's not here. I gotta go to my archives real quick. There you go.
Good friend, but Japan and US are very good friend. But one question: why didn't you tell US allies in Europe and Asia, like Japan, about the war before attacking Iran? So we are very confused about three Japanese citizens.
Well, one thing, you don't want to signal too much. You know, when we go in, we went in very hard, and we didn't tell anybody about it because we wanted surprise. Who knows better about surprise than Japan? Okay? Why didn't you tell me about Pearl Harbor? Okay? Right? You know, he's asking me, do you believe in surprise? I think much more so than us. And we begin.
That guy is not he does not have no sort of diplomatic senses. He don't know how to, calm a situation down. He just know how to agitate a situation. This is why a lot of people don't feel comfortable with the United States of America, especially with this guy's in office. All right. It says, I'm thinking about Proverbs 15:1. 15, yeah. It says, a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. And that was a grievous word that he made mention of. He brought up something that is hurtful to the Japanese people because that was the how can I say it? That was the thing that catapulted and had America get into that war, which was Pearl Harbor. And if you do the research, the Americans did know that they was going to attack. All right, they did get the heads up, but they refused to do anything because they needed that as a reason to get into the World War II. All right, so they needed the sympathy from the people. So all those people died for no reason. It says the tongue of the wise useth knowledge, all right, but the mouth of fools poured out foolishness, and that's Trump, the king of fools. All right, the king of fools. He's deliberately dishonoring his allies, the same allies she didn't. She came. Probably it was her. They try to keep peace with the United States, but the United States, especially how they going back and forth, showing no sort of remorse or anything towards their allies, and that's why publicly they may have said, I think they said that they're going to help out, but they're not going to help out. So he's back on his own. He said, and out of his own words, we don't need Europe or Japan. And then he cries about saying, oh, we need them. So damn if you do, damn if you don't with these people. It says, Sirach 8:1, it says, strive not with a mighty man, lest thou fall into his hands. Be not at variance with a rich man, lest he overweigh thee, for gold have destroyed many and perverted the hearts of kings. Strive not with a man that is full of tongue, and heap not wood upon his fire. Because what you gotta do? You gotta calm the situation down. That's the most diplomatic way of handling things. All right. And everybody that's in this man's inner circle, they're all a bunch of kiss asses. And tell him why he blocking. Tell him what he wants to hear, but not telling him the things that he don't want to hear. And that man Trump don't want to hear the truth at any means. He's gonna pretend to the world that he's winning. Every egotistical thing that you could think of, yeah, they're responsible for that. All right, they're responsible for that. So how you talk to your allies like that, point blank period. All right, and you hear it in the beginning, people was laughing, but the laughter was like it was an isolated situation. All that shit was isolated. So this guy's about to have more enemies than any president in the United States could ever have. Why? Because he can't hold his fucking mouth. Everything in his mouth got to be some sort of disrespect. Like how, I mean, when Zelensky came into the White House, he was getting on a case. He said, "You guys got to be more." What's what he said? You got to be more grateful. That's what they said. You got to be more grateful. So when you have somebody like that who got an ego, matter of fact, the only thing left for him is to fall. It says, pride goeth before destruction, and the haughty spirit before a fall. All right. And the scripture says what? The beast shall hate the whore. And you could clearly see why the beast will hate the whore. The whore, which is America, has literally made enemies with everybody. And that's exactly what he did. He had made enemies with every single nation on the planet Earth. Now, Japan, as much greatness that it bears, that's occupation of the U.S. After World War II, they lost. They couldn't have no standing army. I believe they have an army now. But you don't disrespect your guests that comes into your house like that. All right? But this man's pride is going to lead to his own demise, his own destruction. And there's nothing anyone can do about it. Obadiah 1:7. Well, this isn't even a chapter anyway. It says, all the men of that confederacy, let's look up the word confederacy. Hebrew word is bar yath, covenant, alliance, pledge between men. So he's breaking that little alliance that he had between him and Japan. Now, like I stated, the talking points, that was AI, the first video. I didn't watch it. I just saw the stuff like, oh, did she say something? I thought it was a foreign minister, but it's a prime minister. Let's see, the equivalent of a prime minister is like a president, if I'm not mistaken. Prime Minister of Japan, off top. But I want to see. Prime Minister is the head of a government, and the Parliament, which I'm gonna find out. Parliament is a group of owls or semi-presidential system. Serve as the leader of the cabinet and chief executive under a monarch or president. They're typically the leader of the majority party legislature and manage government policy, appointments, and I'm sorry, not and and daily administration. So they said what they said again, or so is equal to a president of a nation. You don't talk to somebody that's in a high position like that way. This is where respect comes along. Okay? And this man does not believe in anything but the narrative shit that he's always been trying to push. This is the God honest truth of the whole matter. All right? This man has completely violated, he disrespected, and he's going to lead a worldwide hate campaign on Babylon the Great. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. Because he pushes the envelope. All right? He's very highly disrespectful. To a prime minister, you don't see them talking like that to Benjamin, not a Jew, because they're Japanese. He's going to talk to them as he feel like. He's not holding back his tongue. What the scripture says about the tongue, real quick. I'm sorry, did I finish this? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. That border is talking about what's happening right now in the Middle East. There's a great gathering taking place, and we're blessed enough to see this. It says, have brought thee even to the border, that we're at peace with thee, have deceived thee, and prevail against thee. So there's little alliances that America has. You know, his whole campaign was America first. All right, bring back America and all this other crap. But his whole forte was to make money off of the nations. And this is why the nations can't stand him. Because not this guy in general. He's part of the program. They can't stand him because they're liars. All right? They're fucking liars. It says that we at peace with thee have deceived thee. I said, let me read that again. It says, the men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevail against thee. So these little short-term alliances is fragile. All right, they're about to lose. I believe I was watching something, and the guy was breaking it down. What's going to be next? They're about to lose Taiwan, South Korea. All right, they're about to lose everything that's in the east, and even here in the west. All right, because the nations, they can't make no business. They can't deal with each other accordingly. It's because of this man and his impulsiveness of attacking that gutter rat state. It says they that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There's none understanding. And when they took over Japan, they occupied Japan. All right. So here it is. This guy's calling for all heads. Come and help me with this situation. And nobody's like, nope, we don't want to. Now he's backpedaling, so to speak. All right. So Esau is doomed. And them not knowing, let me get this be the last one. Jeremiah 50 and 24. I love bringing this up. I have laid a snare for thee, O thou art, and thou was not, thou also taken, O Babylon, that was not aware thou art found, and also caught because thou hast strive against the Lord. So the snare, the trap is here. You can't talk ill against your neighbor and you tell him that you need him down the way. It doesn't work like that. So this man has no friends. America has no allies that's willing to be diplomatic with it because of the powers that be. So, but overall, that's the Lord's doing. The Lord is the ultimate puppet master. That being said, shalom to the elect of the nations. Shalom.